King by Elliott Hulse, an animated book summary by Alexander Sandalis. So the first and last King video that I summarized and what I think is one of the best videos I've created summarized the strength camp core values, a holistic view of what Elliott's core values are and why they're important to understand. Now, to give you a quick overview of the different topics King focuses on that I'll be summarizing in this book, so kind of the crux of the information, here is the 4 layers of strength overview. And layer 1 is going to be the first group of videos we'll do, and this will cover neuromuscular strength and that related to the accountability core value that I covered in that first video. And this chapter, this first layer was written by Chris Bernard, and people see Elliott Hulse and they don't often see and notice who Chris is and appreciate all the work he's put into creating Strength Camp. He's Elliott Hulse's business partner, his best friend for so many years. He helped created all the videos you loved, and he's kind of a lot of the behind the scenes stuff that we don't see. So shout out to Chris, got a lot of respect for him. Layer 2 will be the next group of videos that'll be physiological strength, and that core value related to programming. Layer 3, energetic strength, that core value was community. Layer 4, life mastery, which related to the coaching core value. If you don't understand those core values, go back, watch the video. If you already have, continue on. So section 1, layer 1 is on neuromuscular strength. Introduction to strength camp training and adaptation. For any physical progress to be occurring, you must focus on the application to the management of stress on the body. If you have a specific physical goal that you want to achieve, you must embrace stress and apply it to your body in a progressive manner over a long period of time. To understand stress, we must understand general adaptive syndrome, or GAS. Now, Hans Seeley introduced this idea of GAS, general adaptive syndrome, to the world, and it describes the body's short and long-term reactions to stress. And it's important to know because every human being goes through stress, so you should understand how our body functions through that. Seeley discovered that the body always reacted with a biological pattern. When it's stressed, the body released chemicals to restore itself to its previous comfort levels. These comfort levels are known as homeostasis. Homeostasis, in one sentence, is the body being balanced, the body's hormones and cognitive functions all being balanced and working in conjunction with one another. So in order to become the strongest version of ourselves, we need to be able to force our bodies out of homeostasis by applying specific amounts of stress over a long period of time. It's this delicate balance that, if you apply too much stress, your body won't be able to recover properly. If you apply too little, your body won't really change at all. So understanding stress can be your friend if used correctly. It's all about how you react and recover. So we must first understand the 3 basic stages that the body must undergo in response to stress. So this is the graph of general adaptive syndrome that goes through the alarm stage, resistance, and exhaustion stage. Everyone's heard of the fight or flight response that our body has, and this is kind of what the alarm stage represents. It's kind of the fight portion of the alarm stage. It involves activating a sympathetic nervous system, which results in the adrenal glands dumping cortisol, adrenaline, noradrenaline into the bloodstream. And therefore, our heart rate increases, blood is diverted from the digestive organs to the muscles that need to move and be activated to, say, run away from something. For people who feel a consistent stress, anger, anxiety, panic, this is a version of what is happening inside your body. Your prolonged adrenaline spike can cause your blood pressure to consistently stay high. Too much cortisol can lead to cardiovascular issues, increased fat stores, sleep issues, etc., etc., etc. Because your body's constantly fighting to get back into homeostasis, which then occurs in the resistance stage. So after this threat is no longer present, your body moves into the resistance stage. But this is the phase that kicks in if our body remains in a stressful state for a longer period of time. This is where stress can become unhealthy. This is where it can harm us. If you remain in this resistance stage for too long without adequate rest or recovery, your chances of getting sick tremendously increase. And then eventually, you can enter the exhaustion stage. I think the exhaustion stage is exactly what it sounds like. It's when you're physically and psychologically exhausted. People usually say they're burnt out. This is when the body can become even more susceptible to infection and disease. The funny thing is, a lot of the times, people who are slightly overweight with bellies, that can be a cause of being in these stages for so long. That can be a cause of your hormones being so imbalanced and you not being in homeostasis, where you may not even need to change your nutrition or change your physical activity that much. Maybe if you just fix your sleep and fixed your stress and lifestyle, that can have a huge impact on people's lives and appearance and how they feel. The exhaustion stage is often the result of someone leading a very extremely stressful job and home life, and that for going on for a long period of time. But after saying all that, stress is not a bad thing. We need stress. Hans says stress is not even necessarily bad for you. It is also the spice of life, for any emotion, any activity causes stress. Now, we're mentioning this because we need to understand how stress affects us in order to learn how to recover properly from it and through our trainings and our life in general. And to apply this to training, well, the alarm stage would be the training session, lifting the weights, going for the run, sprinting, sport competition. The second stage would be recovering from this competition or from this training. This would be the resistance stage. And the third, the exhaustion stage, would represent overtraining or under recovery. When we train, we are providing the body with the stimuli that will force it to recover and adapt to repeated bouts of that stress. As athletes, we want to balance the right amount of stress with the proper recovery and progressive programming to ensure we do not overtrain or exhaust the body. Supercompensation. What is supercompensation? Supercompensation is the body's ability to have a higher capacity for performance after having recovered from a previous training session. Think of this idea of a wooden fence, a body's state of homeostasis as this wooden fence. When we apply this stress to that fence, we break it. But we're breaking it down so we can build it back up. We're breaking it down so we can build it back up with stronger building blocks, maybe bricks and mortar. And now our brick wall is stronger, more resistant to future attacks. It's the difference between, maybe you can do maximum 10 push-ups 1 week, and the next week you can do 12. And the next week after you can do maybe 14. That's what supercompensation is. Now, on the opposite end of the spectrum of supercompensation is overtraining. Overtraining can be experienced when we overstimulate the body with stress over and over again before the body and mind has a chance to fully recover. Very simple principle. But the symptoms of overtraining obviously varies of individual to individual, but can include excessive damage to the muscular tissue, which can lead to increased risk of injury, nagging muscle soreness, elevated cortisol levels, your nervous system being shot so you can't perform at the performance you once had. The majority of people don't overtrain. They just do not work hard enough. They do not work frequently at a high enough intensity to overtrain. Professional athletes can be victims of overtraining quite often. Most 98% of people don't train that way. But I feel like a lot more people, than more than 2%, are claiming that they're overtraining. So using this fear as an excuse to avoid training with intensity or consistency. Don't be that. Your body can do amazing things and is extremely adaptable as long as you give it the adequate fuel and time to recover. So before you cast overtraining as the reason you're hitting a plateau, look at the other areas in your life first. Examine and put them under scrutiny first. Maybe your nutrition isn't in check as you once had it. Maybe you need to tweak a couple of things with your macro and micronutrients. Maybe your sleep has changed. Maybe go into some different lifestyle factors. Maybe the program needs more variety, something like that. You need to go through that before casting overtraining as the reason you're hitting a plateau. Regardless of whether you're hitting overtraining or not, we need to deload. We have deloading weeks because our nervous system over time becomes overloaded by the stress of training. So that's when, your strength gains can begin to plateau. Our deloads are really important when training athletes, especially during the seasons and off seasons. You'll usually have a deload of about a week. The timing of it can be varied. Some do it every 6 weeks, every 4 weeks, every 2 months. It depends around the training. When I was at the Australian College of Basketball, we did deload weeks for 1 week, and they would just decrease our intensity, our volume of our trainings at a lower percentage of our 1 rep maxes. And we do that about every 4 to 8 weeks. But it's really, really important. It gives the nervous system especially time to recover. While our muscles may not be sore, our nervous system can be shot without a lot of the time us realizing it. So our hormones can finally give some time to regulate and get back to homeostasis. This is the hardest thing for any athlete to do, for any person who really is going hard at it, is to stop, rest, and recover. You just want to keep moving forward, you keep want to attacking, you keep want to progressing, but sometimes you have to stop, pause, and go backwards to go forwards. But during a deload week, don't get it twisted, it's not a time just to go into the gym and do whatever you want. You should be still focused on things like technique, spend time on, your mobility, on your stability, or working on things, maybe your weaknesses that you need to address for that week. So while we're talking about the fundamentals of the stresses of our body and how our body works, which we will continue to as this book goes on. So to sum it up, when we perform a training session, we apply stress to our bodies adapt, go through a process of recovery to internally balance that stress, and finally our bodies supercompensate and we naturally grow stronger for the next time we experience that similar stimuli. So training is essentially a constant effort to increase the amount of stress we can apply to the body and giving it the ideal environment in which to recover. And once again, if you made it this far, my deepest appreciation to you, really. I'm really working hard, dozens and dozens of hours to create the best content videos possible. I really want to continue to get better at this craft, at creating this art for you and me. So if there's anything I can do for yourself personally, or these videos in general, to create them, make them that much better, to take them to a whole nother level, which I'm trying to do now, which I think I'm doing, then let me know. Otherwise, I will continue to do this. Please be patient with me. They take a long time to create, but nevertheless, I try to keep a consistent schedule with some of the other videos on this channel. Talk to you soon. I love you.